And welcome back to Living History. We have with us today Betty Rockford, who's lived in Longmeadow. She's going to tell us a bunch of years. We're so glad to have you here, Betty.
Thank
you
you
for coming.
I'm glad to be here.
So tell everybody when you came to Longmeadow and why.
Well, I married my husband after World War II when he came home. And he had to finish up at AIC his senior year. And we had an apartment, and we lived there until I had a baby. And then we decided that we better find a house. But at that time, it was hard to get a house. There were very few of them.
Oh, there was a real housing crunch because of the
That's right,
war.
Everybody coming home. So I had joined the Longmeadow Players, which was a drama group, while I still lived.
Well, of course. What else did you have to do?
Exactly.
You're living in an apartment with a baby and a new husband who's going to school, so you decided to go into the theater.
I had to fulfill myself. So, anyway, I knew people in Longmeadow, so we decided to come out here. Well, we couldn't find a house. My husband wanted to build, but there wasn't too much land in the north end that I liked. It was all at the other end. And so anyway, we got a house to rent on South Park Avenue.
Oh, yeah.
And I love that place. I love the area. I mean, you had the community market across the street. You had a pharmacy.
You had that drugstore right there.
And
yeah.
there was a bakery there at one time.
Oh, nice.
Also, where Stearns and Yarrow, I guess. And it was just a great neighborhood. The people were nice and everything. So we rented that for a couple of years. And then one night, I was playing bridge on Cooley Drive, which at that time was a short street, maybe 10 houses.
Oh, just like a spur off
Right.
Longmeadow Street.
And it was
the trolley spurs.
I was playing bridge with a Mrs. Funky, and I'll never forget that name.
I wonder why.
But anyway, she said that Mr. Chapdelaine, who was a builder, was going to
yes.
extend Cooley down to Riverview. At the moment, it was wooded. And so my husband went down the next day and bought a lot. And you couldn't drive down. We walked down and sort of measured off what we thought. And we weren't too far off the mark. The one at the top of the street was a lot and a half. So we were a little off, but I think we got the best lot on the street.
Oh, great. And you
then-
picked it out. So there was nothing on either side?
Nothing there. It was all forest. And it was a playground over on Emerson. It says Emerson runs parallel to Cooley. And so anyway, he built half the street and he sold the lots. We had a marvelous, marvelous neighborhood. It was just because everybody was brand new.
But then you had to find a builder. Chapdelaine didn't do it?
No, Chapdelaine didn't build his. We had, I've forgotten who we had.
Oh,
but, and we did, up where we were, it was clay, because the Cooley house, the Cooley family were, whatever you do with clay, masons? Would that be masonry? Well, anyway, there was clay
Sounds
pits.
good.
Yeah, I thought it did. The soil was all clay, and I think that's why Chapdelaine sold that, because I know we had to dig our cellar hole about 3 times.
Because of sand?
Well, no, it just slopped back in. It was a very, very rainy fall.
Oh.
And anyway, we have a basement like a fortress. It's really, we really put it in. So anyway, it was, and I'm still there.
How many years?
Well, we built it in '56. And I can always remember that because I had a brand new infant. And we were supposed to be in beforehand, but like everybody else, we did not get in beforehand. So, and we didn't have any, let's see, my kitchen.
You mean before he was born?
No, yeah, we moved after he was born. And my kitchen is in the front. And everybody knew
that's interesting.
Yeah, but everybody knew my brand of toothpaste before on the street because we had no drapes. And here's this great big window with lights. But they were marvelous neighbors, really. They were all great. But there aren't very many. There's nobody left now. I don't know anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, it changed. It changes so. But we used to live outdoors, you know? The fellows
Yes, I was thinking about that, how much we
Yeah.
did outdoors.
Yeah, well, we had gardens. Dr. Roberts, Harry Roberts was a doctor. He lived next door. And he and my husband had a garden together. And it was a neighborhood where you're all out and back. And, all right, I'm cooking this, come on over. And it was just a great neighborhood.
That's great.
Really, yeah, it was nice. I enjoyed it. It was good, a good location. I mean, you could walk to the library, you could walk to church,
Right.
and even school. The kids went to Center.
They went to Center, so they went right up Longmeadow
and then they
Street.
went to high school. They went the whole thing. And my daughter went on to the University of Massachusetts, where she claims her first year was the same. It was just a rerun of her high school year.
Oh, yeah.
She said the kids that came from Boston were way behind. So really, Longmeadow does have a terrific...
When did she graduate from LHS?
79, 69,
Oh, yeah.
something right in there.
Right.
Yeah, wait a minute.
Because early on, when it
60.
first opened in 58 and
No,
59, it didn't have a reputation yet.
No,
and that was a problem
69
for
is
some people.
when she
But by
graduated.
69, 70, it was doing great.
And her class, she claims, was the last class where the class pictures had the black velvet drape and the pearls. 4 years later, my son, was photographed for class. He's in Forest Park leaning up a tree with hair
I know,
down
I've
to
looked
here.
at those yearbooks, and boy, they really got to do anything. Yeah.
Yeah, her class.
And they
was
do
was
now.
fun.
They can be with their pets and their instruments. And
Well, my son was
Outdoors.
in the 70s, and he really had a group. He had one kid who put a bomb in the locker. He really did put a bomb in the locker. And I don't know why.
Did it go off?
Huh?
Did it go off?
Oh, yes. It did. Fortunately,
He blew up his locker or
Yep.
somebody else's locker?
No, his. And it was right near the cafeteria.
He wasn't one of the smart ones, right?
I think he was a little different,
Yes.
weirdly different,
Yeah.
or so on.
Attention seeking.
I think so.
Yes.
But anyway, I've been here ever since, and I was always involved in everything in the town stuff. Of course, we didn't work, you know.
Right.
We stayed at home. And when we were finally more or less relieved of responsibility for the kids, then we volunteered for things. I volunteered at the hospital, you know, for a long time.
Well, let me go. Did you stay with the Longmeadow Players?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The only trouble with the Longmeadow Players, that was a nice group. Everybody would have dinner parties beforehand and go to the plays. Our ushers wore tuxedos and
Oh,
long
nice.
dresses. The parties, the plays usually ended. Our plays were usually happy ending. You know.
Good.
And they
all went to the seashore.
and but they ended by 10. People would have parties afterwards, and then we would also have suppers and other social activities. We made them our own. I have to tell you about the policeman's ball.
Oh, yes.
That
Our
was-
police department?
Yes.
What do they
Well,
have,
you've
like
heard-
6 policemen?
I don't know, but you've heard how everybody was friendly. The police and the townspeople got along so well, and we did. But every year they had a ball, and the police would go around and sell tickets house to house. Everybody bought them, and most of us went. And you get there, and
Where was it?
at the community house. And Mr. Ryder, our local
Oh,
dancer.
yes,
Are you-
Myron Ryder,
yeah,
who
we would
taught
get
the
there,
dancing lessons.
and he would line up the town officials and the police captain and the police and their women, their ladies, and the rest of us behind, and he'd march us up the center, around there, down the sides, around the corner, I mean, all to the stirring music.
And you're in gowns?
Oh, everybody, well, some of us did. We were a fairly dressy bunch back then. We all had hats and white gloves.
After 4?
No,
Not in the evening.
No, but I mean, when I went to church,
Oh, yes.
you stand at the back of the church and you see a sea of mink stoles. Everybody wanted a mink stole, and practically everybody had one. And,
Wow.
oh, well, yeah, but the most uncomfortable.
Just a little.
They come around here and
Like
then
a
down
shrug.
here, yeah. And they were uncomfortable, to say the least. If you drove in them, they ended up around your ears. and they were too cool for winter and too warm for summer. But everybody had one. I bet you $1 that there's some lurking in closets today.
Right.
And because I just got rid of mine not too long ago, really.
How'd you get rid of it?
Well, I heard the hairdresser. She was in his 40s, I'd say, and she liked to dress up, real dressy, you know, sequins and so on. So it was fine for her, but we didn't wear them. But as I say, we were dressy. We had dinner dances. They were, because you just realize.
Well, there's a big crowd of you at that point, of young marrieds.
Yep.
new parents, all pouring into Longmeadow.
Yeah, and we're all
and
looking for
creating a
something.
social life.
Yeah, well, they had the men's club. That was a terrific deal. They did projects. I'm not sure what they were, but they had a big Christmas party for the children, and for some reason they gave out silver dollars. And one of my kids, one of my kids still has 2 of them. And this was a long time ago. Right. But there again, they would have a big dinner dance, and they'd have a ski and a skate sale where you brought.
Oh, they still have those.
Do they still have that? Well, they had that, and they had different projects, but that was really great. Then you'd have the women's club, and of course maternal, which is still going.
Still going.
And the garden club. And we had the women's auxiliary from the hospital that a lot of people from Longmeadow belonged to.
From Bay State?
Well, yeah, it was Springfield Hospital, Western Women's, and then Springfield. And there was a big auxiliary. We had a lot of activities there. We had an antique show, and we had the Follies, and we'd have.
Now, in this theater career of yours, did you perform?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Did you sing and dance?
No, I was an actress.
Oh.
And most of the time I played myself. So I was very good. No, we put on a couple of productions a year, and Bunny and Doug Buick were very.
What did you say, Buick?
Buick.
Buick.
They were quite active. And Kitty Broman, do you remember her?
Sure I do.
She met her second husband there. They were cast in the same play.
Oh, for goodness sake.
And Paul Broman. And she was president. It was a beautiful group. And the problem was a civic theater in Springfield, to which I also belonged, disbanded. And so they came out to us, and they were serious students of drama. They wanted Wuthering Heights.
No happy endings here,
No,
Wuthering Heights, right.
And they overwhelmed us. And so the rest, we quit. And it was too bad. But everything runs its course.
That's true.
You don't necessarily, keep on.
So a lot of your activities were at the community center. It really was more of a
community house. Oh yeah, we used to
community house, right?
Yeah, we had fashion shows. We had bridge luncheons. We had suppers. We had everything. It really took place there. Even the policeman's ball. I'll never forget one year. You can't have any liquor at the community house. I think that's
it's town property,
still,
state law.
Okay,
yeah.
People would have bars in their cars, but one year, they
so
had,
they'd like a high school prom. They'd leave, go out to the car, come out.
But one year, one of the police put up a bar on the ambulance, which was really popular. Fortunately, it wasn't called out that night. But they did. You made do. And we had a couple of nightclubs in town.
We did?
Well, we had Turner Park, and then there was one down at the Enfield, the Connecticut line.
Oh, Sharky's?
I don't know. I don't remember much about that.
If somebody talked about Sharky's down there. We
It
kept
could have
saying,
been.
what is it?
But
it was a nightclub.
Yeah. And, of course, Turner Park. That was we used to go there when I was in college.
Now, what was the name of it there?
Turnverein.
The Turnverein.
Well, there was German origin, and what they did was
it was German families that owned the land.
They would all dress up. The servers would dress up in those German
lederhosen.
Is that whatever they are? And they'd sing songs and play the accordion, and they served beer in pitchers, which everybody thought was a great idea. I don't know, maybe they thought they got a lot. I don't know. I never drank it, but there was music. But what they did, the best thing was a clam bake. They put on these clam bakes, the ones where you dig a hole in the ground and seaweed and stones and all that sort of stuff, and it was very popular with groups. Sometimes it was a fundraiser, and sometimes it was social, but they did a lot of those. In fact, I think they continued to do those after the fire, because it was outside.
Right. The fire burned down the restaurant.
The restaurant.
And then there was...
We had a pavilion.
Was it a pavilion?